Welcome to this Toolbox talk on Amendment 1 to BS 7671-2018, brought to you by Select. Now, the purpose of this presentation is to review Amendment 1, which amends Section 722 Electric Vehicle Charging Installations. During this presentation, we'll cover the following topics. Now, we'll start with looking at the most common types of electric vehicles which are available in the market. And then we'll move on to looking briefly at some government statistics on the number of electric vehicles on the roads in the UK and compare the running cost of an electric vehicle compared with that of a fossil fuel vehicle. We'll also look in detail at the content of Amendment 1 2020 to BS 7671-2018, which was issued on the 1st of February 2020 and may be implemented immediately. This Amendment 1 has been released to take into account advances in technologies just not previously available when the 18th edition was released in 2018. And at the end of the presentation, we'll be looking at some of the requirements for OLEV, where you can source more information. Now, if you think that electric vehicles are a recent development, you may be surprised to learn that they've been around for more than a century. In the late 1890s, electric vehicles, or EVs as they are known, outsold internal combustion engines, commonly referred to as ICEs. Yet despite initial popularity, EV sales declined sharply as better roads sparked demand for long-range vehicles, and worldwide oil discoveries made fossil fuel-powered vehicles more affordable to operate. EV manufacturing on a large scale virtually disappeared until the 1990s. When rising concerns about fossil fuel reserves and carbon emissions inspired renewed interest. The most common vehicle types which are in the marketplace today are hybrids, plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles. The hybrid vehicle contains an ICE with a traction battery for propulsion. The traction battery cannot be charged from a charging point. The plug-in hybrid electric vehicle utilises an ICE and a traction battery for propulsion. The battery can operate on its own or in parallel with the ICE. The traction battery can be charged by the ICE or be plugged in to a charging point. The battery electric vehicle is a vehicle solely powered by a traction battery, including supplying all the car's electrical and electronic systems, for example, air conditioning, lights and heating. Inductive charging, also known as wireless power transfer, or WPT, is an emerging technology that allows EV charging without the use of a cabled connection. This type of technology uses an electromagnetic field to transfer energy between a charging pad and an electric car through electromagnetic induction. This is a promising technology which could revolutionize electric vehicle charging in the future. Now, as a matter of interest, the picture on the right is the Wardenclyffe Tower from 1904. It was based on the invention from Nikola Tesla. The tower was intended to provide wireless energy transfer around the world. However, this was a bit too ambitious for its time, and he eventually ran out of funds. The last type of electric vehicle is the range extender hybrid electric vehicle. These types of vehicles are similar to BEVs, with the added range security of a petrol-powered generator. The generator is not connected directly to the drivetrain. Instead, it charges the battery pack directly. Now, the information on the left will give you some idea of how many electric vehicles were on the roads of Scotland and how Scotland compares with the rest of the UK. The Committee for Climate Change suggests that at least 5% of the cars fleet in Scotland should be electric by the end of 2020. This would mean a total of approximately 120,000 electric vehicles, with 27,000 new car sales of electric vehicles in 2020. The transition to EVs is set to accelerate over the coming decades. The UK will either have to match or better international commitments if we're to be a world leader. And a leadership position would enable the UK to develop sought-after expertise in EV technology, manufacturing and charging infrastructure. The government brought forward a sales ban of new petrol and diesel vehicles by 5 years to 2035, and it expands to hybrid and plug-in hybrids. The fate of conventional hybrids had been in the balance since the 2040 ban was originally announced as part of the government's Road to Zero strategy in 2018. The government is also aiming to reduce greenhouse gases by at least 80% by 2050 compared with 1990 levels. To help achieve this, the aim is to phase out the installations of high carbon fossil fuel heating during the 2020s and to at least halve the energy use by new buildings by 2030, as outlined in the government's policies. Now, just before we look at the detail of Amendment 1, it's worth looking at the running costs of an electric vehicle. In the first example, if we look at the cost of switching on a load of 1000 watts for 1 hour, it would cost around 15 pence, depending on the tariff from your supplier. In the second example, depending on the vehicle, driving style and conditions, a typical small electric vehicle containing a 62 kilowatt hour battery has a range of approximately 227 miles and would cost just under £10 to run. If you were to do the same journey using a fossil fuel vehicle, it would cost around £27. Now, that's quite a saving on the running costs of a vehicle. Within the UK, there are several public charging providers. You'll see from the table that there is no standard charge per kilowatt hour. At the moment, it's free to charge your electric vehicle in Scotland. However, this may change as the uptake increases in electric vehicles. Most of these public charging providers will require you to apply for what is known as an RFID card for a small nominal fee, or by smartphone app. Both types of payments require you to register your details and your payment card to allow you to access the relevant charging equipment. For one charging point location in the Renfrewshire area, the cost for charging your car is 25 pence per kilowatt hour, plus a connection charge of £1.50, plus if your stay is longer than an hour, you'll be charged an additional £10. This charging point looks expensive. However, there are plenty of other providers that offer alternatives located within the central belt of Scotland.